Hi, everyone. I'm Angela Grantham. I'm Curator of Statewide Services at the Alaska State Museum in Juneau. And today I'm going to be sharing about the FY 2023 Grant in Aid program. So I'm going to talk about who's eligible, what this year's grant programs are, show you the grant templates, and then there'll be time at the end for questions. So basic information about the Grant in Aid, or GIA as we call it. It's actually been a program now for 51 years. I went through the files and I found an old grant letter from 1971. For that long now, the legislature has been designating money to support museums across Alaska. You can see there that it's governed by both Alaska statute and regulation. And every year so far, we've been getting money from the legislature for this program. It's usually $105,600, but that can change from year to year. And this year, of course, we're still at the beginning of the budget cycle, but the governor's budget actually had $171,400 slotted this year for the grant in aid. We don't know what the final amount will be until the budget actually passes. But that's really encouraging to know that this year we maybe will have more than we have in really probably decades. We'll see how it goes. So if you're on the call today, you're most likely eligible for the grant in aid. It's for any nonprofit or tribal government or city government that operates a museum. You have to have objects. You have to have been open 90 days. I say they're in 2019. That's because we recognize that a lot of museums have had intermittent openings and closings because of COVID. So we are backtracking to the year prior to COVID to prove that you were open to the public for those 90 days. We also ask that you have one full-time staff or a full-time equivalent engaged in museum operations. And so that could be, you have several folks that work part-time, but together that equals one full-time worker who's working in collections, exhibits, and operations. You need to have completed all of your previous GIA projects and a few other things related to finances. But if you have any questions about eligibility, just reach out. There's a good chance you are eligible. We also make grants to those who are museum support organizations. So these are the changes to this year's grant program. The last couple of years, because of COVID, we've operated the relief grant. We're no longer offering the relief grants. Hooray, a lot of us means that we've sort of made it through COVID. So we're going back to the regular grants, but we're changing it. It used to be up to $10,000. We're boosting that. It's now up to $12,000 for projects. And we're changing the mini grant so that the mini grant is specifically for small museums. And by small museums, we mean those that have annual operating budgets that are less than $100,000. The reason that we did this is because there are huge amount of tiny museums in Alaska. When we did the Alaska Museum Survey in December of 2019, we found that 40% of Alaska museums had 0 full-time staff, and 75% had 0 to 2 full-time staff. So most museums are really almost like micro organizations, and we're making the mini grant available just to these small museums so that they're not competing side by side with museums that have greater capacity. So the mini grant is a simplified grant process, requires less information, and we're making it for the small museums to encourage more small museums to apply, and knowing that they are just competing with other small museums and not with those of us that have greater capacity. So, however, if you are a small museum with that makes less than $100,000 a year, you can apply for a regular grant. The regular grant is for any institution. However, you can only apply for one over the course of the year. The application templates are now available on the webpage. As I'll pull up one of the applications just so you can see the templates. They are based on a character count system, and so the template's available for you to be able to develop your application and know that you're going to make the character count. Just know that the spaces are included as characters. The regular grant program, we have some different questions this year, and we're really hoping that applicants connect their projects with their strategic plans or strategic priorities. And we have a budget form for the regular grants. You don't have to show matching funds, but you're encouraged to do so, as there's a chance that you will be scored higher if you have matching funds. I'm going to stop sharing this and pull up the templates just so you can take a look at them. These are available on the GIA website now. So as usual, it starts out with just contact information, information about when you're open to the public, how many visitors that you received, amount of staff, control of institution. These are all questions that have appeared in the past. The different questions are in the proposal data section. We're asking for organizational profile, information about the project team, a strategic plan connection, as you see there. So this is available now for you to start drafting your grant, and the online submission portal will open on April 1st. I'm going to pull up my slides again. I believe that you can see the PowerPoint again, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So here's the calendar. Right now, go to the webpage, you'll see the information about the grant programs. We'll start accepting those applications on April 1st. I am happy at any time to chat with you about your application. Please do note that I am not on the review panel. I coordinate the entire review, but I'm not one of the people that actually scores or judges the grants. If you would like to submit a draft, please do so by May 6th, so I have time to review it and get back to you and offer my feedback to you. Deadline is June 1st, as always. That'll be at 11:59 p.m. And there's this kind of funny time period in between June 1st and June 30th. It's June 30th when last year's grant and aid projects are finished. And so if you received a grant last year, you need to complete all of your reporting by June 30th so that you are eligible to receive a grant in the coming fiscal year. And then it's following July 1st, 2022, that we're able to make the award announcements. I say following July 1st because July 1st is the beginning of the fiscal year, but that doesn't mean that we have all of the budget information that we need yet from the state of Alaska. So even though we often have made our grant decisions by July 1st, we have to wait until the Department of Education releases the money to us and allows us to make the grant announcement. So we try to do that as quickly as possible, but a lot of it is out of our hands. Some basic advice here. I suggest using the templates. They're there to help you to develop your grant and to make sure that you fit the character count. Because a lot of times we receive submitted grants that are clearly only partially submitted because half of it was cut off because it was larger than the character count. And note that we're funding a whole variety of projects with the grant and aid. It's a flexible funding program with broad latitude for funding. So really do apply for projects that are in line with your strategic plan and priorities. They don't have to be just like typical collections projects or exhibits projects. They can be things, organizational development, professional development, all sorts of things are eligible to be funded through the grant and aid. So here's my contact information. You all know how to contact me. Please be in touch if you have any questions about the program.